temperature in my room throughout the day has only risen. Is this hot? Oh. What's gonna happen when it's like 90 degrees outside?
We'll have the air conditioner on then.
Take in your room and put an air conditioner in.
Yeah. I'm about to start streaming. What's up?
Maybe there's no point to getting a new bed if I'm going to be taking this room anyway.
I mean, it's up to you. Just know that the stream might have already started. Excuse me. So, how's everyone doing? We got the Ugears Dream Cabriolet back today. We're going to assemble that. I know we got a little sidetracked with the NCAA tournament and then some other things that came in that I wanted to get to, but now we're back here for day 12 of the Dream Cabriolet, and I think we should get going with that, and let's get to work. I gotta take some of the materials out here, and then we'll get started. So how's everyone doing? Everyone watched the game last night? It was not the best game, in my opinion. It was, I think Florida Atlantic would have put up more better competition. I don't think anyone was going to beat UConn. In fact, I'm sort of wondering why they were only ranked, whatever they were ranked, about 16th, something like that. Seemed like they really controlled that game. I mean, not controlled the game. I mean, controlled the tournament. They didn't have a close game. I know that that's not the only measure, but like, when's the last time that happened? I mean, I wasn't around when UCLA was winning so many games in a row, but were they winning them without any competition? Because UConn just won a tournament without any competition. Like, nobody stopped them. Nobody came within like 10, 15 points of stopping them. And even that championship game, I mean, come on. That was like, I don't know. UConn controlled that game. I think there was one point where San Diego State was winning maybe like about 10-8 or something like that. But really, come on. UConn had that game all the way. I'm not a huge UConn fan. Danny Hurley coached at Wagner for a while, which is on Staten Island. So that was kind of cool. But beyond that, I mean, it was an interesting tournament. I think Florida Atlantic in the final would have been more interesting. I don't know why I'm obsessing on them. There's a lot of other teams that could have done stuff, but I guess because San Diego State got through with that buzzer beater shot when Florida Atlantic was really winning the whole game, and then I think they didn't score a field goal, or maybe they only had one field goal in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Like, San Diego State was lucky to get into that championship game, and they played like they were lucky to get into it. They didn't look like they really, what can I say? It wasn't that much of a game. There have been other games like that, but that one was one of them. There's not that much going on. I'll tell you, this is pretty solid what we have here. This Dream Cabriolet. Cabriolet? Anyway, whatever it is, it's looking pretty solid. The engine is kind of sunk in there. I think that's surprising to me. The walls are clearly going to come out wider than what they're at now. At least, right, to here where the tires are going to be, and to here where the floor is going to be. So we don't really have a full sense of the vehicle right now. Why does it have two mufflers? Is that like accurate? Does Cabriolet have two mufflers? Is it called a Dream Cabriolet or is it a Cabriolet? I don't know. I'm not really a car guy. All right, so it says we left off on page 25. Let's go to 25 in the book. I don't know how accurate that is. It's been several days. And all right, so 25. I don't think we completed 25 because if you look at this last panel in 25, first of all, I don't know why those rubber bands are red. We don't have rubber bands. We only have orange rubber bands. Anyway, it shows rubber bands hooked around these pieces here. And we don't have rubber bands hooked around these pieces. So, you know, I guess we didn't finish page 25. All right. Did we even start page 25? That's a good question. Let's see, 27. All right, here's page 25. And it starts, you know, these pages keep jumping. When I try to zoom, they jump. Let me try to zoom very slowly, and maybe it won't jump this time. All right, so it says cut some toothpicks, put some toothpicks in. Where does it want these toothpicks? All right. I think I need to be looking at the underside. Yeah, that's where the toothpicks go. And they're there. The toothpicks are there. So, I don't know what's the best angle to show you those toothpicks. But they're in there. So we did that. All right, let's see what's next on page 25. Another close-up view. Well, the book has a close-up view of the toothpicks, and I'm giving you a close-up view of those toothpicks. So, there's some toothpicks. All right, let's see what's next. All right, 104. I don't think we did that. So, do I need to do this on both sides? I see it's inside the wheel well. Which wheel well? The front or the back? The one with the rubber band on it. So that makes it the front. I don't see the connector on this side. Is it only on the other side? Yeah, there it is. So the side with the rubber band, there's a connector inside there, and that's going to get 104. And 104 is on sheet 3. So piece 104 from sheet 3 is going to go, where is this? This is the front driver side tire. That's where it's going to go. All right. 104, sheet 3. I don't know what that is, but that's not. All right. Sheet 1 is completely finished. Sheet 3, there's 104 right there. So let's pop that out and get to work. 104 is piece 266. All right, so we got to pop it in there. That's it. That's all we got to do. We do that, we move on. If I could fit my fingers in there. And if I could get support behind it. This thing kind of looks like an old school magnet. You know those like U-shaped magnets from the cartoons? Where they would like lead someone around with the magnet. Kind of looks like that. Alright. Let's try upside down. Maybe we could get a better grip from this angle. Alright. Try again. There we go. Feels like it's in, but I didn't hear the popping sound. What do you think? I want that popping sound. I don't think this thing is really in yet. I don't know. Let's try again. All right. There's definitely some space in there. You can see it. That thing is not all the way in. But so, we got to get it all the way in somehow. Come on. Dang. Doesn't want to go in. Is it possible I have this piece upside down? No. I think it's an ambidextrous piece. Though I'm notorious for messing up the first piece of the night. It's like until I do that first like mistake, I don't work with the appropriate amount of caution, which means I usually mess up the first piece and then get better. Well, it's the same in basketball, right? Don't they usually miss a lot of shots in the first few minutes of a game, and then they get into a rhythm in the fourth quarter they can't miss? All right, so we put that piece in, 104. All right, what's next? They want us to look at this. Oh, or do they want us to connect a rubber band? Where is that rubber band? That's already connected. No, I'm looking at the wrong side. All right, let's go to this side and see if that... Yeah, that rubber band's already connected. I'll tell you, though, if it hadn't been, it would be too late for me to do anything about it. Like that reminder they put in the instruction book, they should have put that sooner. Anyway, rubber band's already there. Nothing to worry about. All right. So, next, they want us to cut... What? They want us to cut 4 9mm sections of rubber band, and I just want to point out that in their instructions, they're cutting right through the knot. Obviously, we're not going to cut through the knot. That would be ridiculous. But what are they trying to say here? Do they want us to cut, or do they just want us to tie it? Yeah, they just want us to tie. Okay. See, good thing. So when you're not sure, look forward in the instructions. So they don't want us to cut these rubber bands. They just want us to tie them at the 9mm mark. 4 times they need this? Seriously? Yeah, I guess 4 times. Okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to take 4 rubber bands and we're going to tie them 9mm deep. I mean, that's the plan. This is what they want, you know? That's what we're going to do. Give them what they want. All right. Tie it 9mm. What do you think? Is that about 9mm? I don't know. Hard to say. All right. I think what you have to do is get it started. And then you have to get something in one side as like a holder. And then you got to push the knot towards that holder. Because, that does not look like the distribution they had. That's not correct. That's starting to look about right. All right, let's measure that. So the millimeter measurer is on this tool. So there's the 10mm mark. They wanted it at 9. Once we do the first one, we use that as a template. So this knot is about 15. So it has to go further the other way, which I don't know if we really can do that. I'm going to try. It might be too late to move this thing, in which case we'd have to untangle it and try again. How important do you think it is to get that 9mm right on the mark? We should look into where this is going. Why do we even need it here? Just to make the rubber band smaller? If you look ahead, let's look ahead and see how they use it. All right, they hook here. They hook here. Yeah, wow. Okay. All right, we need to do 4 of them. Let's try better on the other 3. I think that maybe we'll get away with this one being a little long. There's 2 different locations where they go. Wow, that is very long. That's like 20mm. Yeah, that's not going to do. If it was 15, I would say, you know, the two sets of rubber bands go in different locations, and I think we can make it work. But no, 20. Come on, we're asking too much. All right, this one's probably not going to get used. Let's try again. All right, how are we going to get the knot all the way to one side? It's like we can't tighten it until we know it's all the way on one side. And it looks like my finger was too big. So I think we have to use maybe that little tool that they give us Maybe that should be the thing we use to keep the loop open. That was a fail. Didn't even get the knot tied. All right, let's try again. Okay. All right. If I can even grab this thing. All right. Now, let's use this tiny thing to hold one side open. And we're going to push it all the way to that end. All right, let's go. All right, that's smaller than 9 millimeters. So let's pinch the two sides and pull the knot and see what we get. That looks pretty good. If this is long, then I have no idea how to do this. It's long, but it's not long by much. In fact, it's barely long. This one's pretty good. I think let's try that again.
I got this glitch where
And maybe we'll get it next time. Alright. By the way, let's read the news rather than have me watch me tie 4 rubber bands. Let's see here. We're looking for some headline. You know what? I think I'm in the wrong spot. I need to go to the read. The read part of the news. So I'm on timcast.com. I don't know how long I'll stick with this website. Last week they had like all transgender stories. I was getting tired of commenting on them. So let's see what they have this week. Also, it doesn't scroll on an iPad. Like the left side scrolls. And then the middle, the main part doesn't. Until I don't know if it makes a difference. Seems like if I pinch it open and closed a couple of times, then it will okay, then it starts going. Okay. Judge declines to impose gag order on Trump, cites First Amendment in his candidacy. Judge Juan Merchant has declined to impose a gag order on former President Trump regarding his charges. Well, it's going to be difficult to comment on this story because I don't know what a gag order refers to. I heard before this whole started that people saying if there's like a gag order, then he can't mention the case in his rallies. I don't know how big a deal that would be. I mean, if you're showing up to a Trump rally, you're already supporting Trump. Although I suppose there could be people like watching the live stream of it who haven't decided who they're voting for yet. So a gag order, yeah. Well, what do you think? Gag order. Why is there no gag order? This whole time, I've been very suspicious of this. Like, Trump is from New York. Trump lives in New York. Trump works in New York and has for 40 years. Trump's sister is a judge in New York. Like, literally. I'm not sure how seriously to take anything that comes out of New York regarding Trump. Like, there's so much play acting in New York. It's actually, in my opinion, sickening. I don't mind that there's like winners and losers. That's always going to happen. But I think they win and lose. Like, think about like a basketball game. You want the team that hits the most shots to win, not the team that convinces the ref to call fouls on the other team. Like, you don't want, like in the women's game, Caitlin, what was her name? Clark, I think was her name. Caitlin Clark. She had like 3 fouls at halftime. She had 2 fouls early. And it's just, it wasn't really her night. Although there was this, I think, Jasmine something on the other team, and it was her night. So that was a redeeming quality. So you want it to be decided on the field. And I think it's the same with politics and economics. You want them to be decided on the field. You want to, debate the issues, and people are going to vote for, who wins on the issues. But a lot of what comes out of New York is play acting. And it's sad. It's really sad because there's important institutions in New York. There's like important banks in New York. There's the media in New York. There's obviously a lot of, big business people in New York. Not really. The reason I say not really is because New York businesses, it sort of goes with that play acting thing and having media and banks. It's like, not that Ohio is much better, but there was a time when Ohio had more Fortune 500, was home to more Fortune 500 headquarters than any other state. And not that Ohio's perfect, but they tended to have businesses that you could tell what they're doing. New York has a lot of businesses that no one really knows what they're doing. They're like shuffling things around, and that's worth how many billions? It's like, can you please do something that, people can understand? Like, they're going to buy your product or your service, or they're going to know your company sells in some other country, or they make airplanes, or they're the backbone of the internet, or they search like Google. It's like, can you please do something that someone recognizes and not just have people say, oh, this person's great, this is worth $1 billion, and this is, this guy's an excellent fund manager. I mean, how many of these fund managers need to go like belly up before we realize that it's not really a great business? And even when they do well, no one knows what they're doing. Like no one can really tell you how that's like making your life better. That some fund manager, made 20% this year. Like, how did your life get any better? And the media, forget about them and their fake news. Okay, I'm glad I'm done doing the rubber bands, as I was sort of getting tired of bagging on my home city, but it is a pretty pathetic place. There's so much like acting going on. I know that there's spin everywhere. It's probably worse in DC than New York, but it's juvenile. It's juvenile when there's people who make $3 million plus a year, and they're trying to convince you of some bullshit. Like, come on, just do your job. Let the chips fall where they lay. That's how the economy works. Not all this intimidate this guy, encourage that person, convince them of this thing that isn't true. I'm sorry that I don't have examples prepared, but I just see it so often. So much bullshit in New York. Maybe your hometown has bullshit too. Tell us in the comments. All right, let's get back to building this thing. Okay, so we have our rubber bands ready. And then up near the engine, but the view that they're showing us, I think we have already the right orientation of this. Let me see. Just trying to make sure I got this all right. I'm looking at this from the right angle because they're giving like a very close-up zoom of what's going, close-up view in the instructions of what's going on. And it's hard to tell. Everything looks so the same that I can't tell if I'm looking at the right side or not. One thing that's different is these pieces that point to one direction. And it looks like when we look at the instructions, they're pointing the other direction, which is honestly just making me wonder if I installed this piece backwards. Because I can't figure out how to hold this to make it look like that. Oh, okay, like this. I have to hold it like this. Okay, all right, everything's okay. So here's the rubber band holders that we were looking for. They're on the side of the vehicle here. Now, what do we have to do with these rubber bands? I think we have to take the small end, put it through this little like half shell here. So this little half shell here, put it through, and then when we pull them back, they're going to end up in those little hooks. Now, what's going to happen after that, I don't know. But that's where we're starting. That's what we're doing right now. which is coming from the outside. Push this through. I think we have to kind of grab it on the other side. So otherwise it's just going to pull right back out. And we got to get it to hook into those little hooks down there. It's not going to be easy. I think maybe this tool will help. Alright, first we got to get it through there. So I'm going to like kind of twirl it and stick it in there. Alright, that didn't work. Alright, I'm just going to use force to push it in with this thing. Hopefully without breaking it. And then once I get it through, I'm going to grab the other end with this. And then we're going to lock it on, right? That's the plan. Let's see if we can do it. I lost the other end. I went to the... I lost it. Had it, but I lost it. We gotta try again. And my... Alright, we get it in there. Can't see anything. There's like no camera angle where you can see what I'm doing. Alright, let's try again. Get it in there. I'm not gonna grab it with the tool this time because I had no grip. I'm gonna grab it with my fingers. I don't want to grab it with the needle nose pliers because they'll probably rip it. And then I gotta spread these apart, hold it on the other side, and push it down, and that should get it on there. Didn't work. Alright. I think maybe the twisting is not a good idea because that puts pressure on it to unwind, and that's not helpful when I'm trying to get it in there. Why do I keep not having the paper clip? That would be very helpful for working with rubber bands. Alright, got it started. Got it in there. Grab the other end. Pull it down. There you go. It should be that easy every time. I don't know why it's not. So, as you can see there, the rubber band is in. It's on the other side. It's inside. There it is. So, we just got to do another rubber band like that. Let's see if we get that in there. Now we got to do it. We have an extra obstacle on this one because it's like the other rubber band is now in our way. But I think we can do this. Let's get it in there. It's going to be tricky also. I'm putting the wrong end in. I was putting the long end in. You got to put the short end in. What's also going to be tricky is when I reach to the inside to hold it, that I make sure I get the right rubber band. I guess it's not going to be too tricky. They're like, one is on top of the other, but it also kind of flops around, and you can end up grabbing the wrong one. Anyway, hopefully we get the right one. It's in there. I don't think it's in there long enough to grab it, but it's in there. Let me use the tool. All right. Now I got to grab it from the inside, and I got to get it to hook around without it pulling away from the inside. All right, so I got to separate these, hook them down, pull them down, and they should hook on if I get them into the slots. Does not feel like they're in the slots. Yeah, that is something's not working there. All right, let's reset. Make sure we got these two like that they're not twisted. All right, let's try again. God bless you. Come on. Wow. Did I get it? I can't see. Let's take a close look here. Is that on? I think that's on. Alright, let's look from the inside. I'll tell you, this close-up camera, I don't know if it does anything for... Well, I don't see it on that side. It looks like it's in on this side, but I don't see it on the other side. But how can it be going in there on this side and not show up on the other side? Anyway, I was going to say this close-up camera, I don't know what it does for you, but it does wonders for me because otherwise I wouldn't be able to see. For example, right here, that is not in. I think it's sitting on top. Yeah. It's sitting on top, which is crazy. So it's in on the bottom where it needs to be, but on the top, it was sitting on top. That's crazy. I don't know whether to move forward or not. It's like the rubber band. How is this even possible? How can it be in on this side and not on the other side? Like you see it going in both... Well, let me get this rubber band out of the way. You see it going in both sides, right? So it must come out on this side, but it doesn't. What law of physics did we just break? How's this possible? What am I not understanding here? Is it looped around twice from the inside? From the outside, sorry? I can't even get in there to get a look. My fingers blocked the way. All right, I'm just going to have to say that that's on. We clearly glitched the matrix in the process because it's not on the other side. It's like, I don't know. What's that like split thing in the quantum physics? That experiment, that double slit experiment in quantum physics? This is it. This is a double slit. We have the rubber band going into both slits on this side, and it doesn't exist on that side because it was too small for us to see, only showed up on the monitor. And you know how quantum physics works. You can like time travel apparently. You just need a Mobius strip and some Iron Man computer. All right, so anyway, we're just going to assume that that rubber band is going to hold. Because that's, you know, I could take it out and do it again, but I mean, it's clearly in. You saw me pull on it. All right, so next, we're going to take those two rubber bands. Well, here's an issue. They're showing them connected on the inside. They're connected on the inside in their picture. But we connected them on the outside because the previous picture... Oh, okay, those dashed lines. That wasn't really a clear picture, was it? Those dashed lines are going over the front, which means we connected them to the wrong side. They're supposed to be connected on the inside. Is there any way to change that? Wow, it's going to be really difficult to redo it from the inside. Anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to do it again from the inside. So, we were supposed to connect them from the inside out, which frankly is going to be impossible. Because I can't get my finger in there to get them started. I need like a paper clip that's like pointed that way, like a hooked paper clip. I don't have such a thing nearby. I should. I used to. I don't see it right now, so I'm not gonna. I don't have it. I'm not gonna go around the house looking for a paper clip. I'm just gonna try to think how else to do this. All right. So I'm going to line it up there, like where it's supposed to go. And then I'm going to try to push it through with this. Maybe I should use a toothpick. It's a little bit smaller. When I get it to the other end, I'm going to grab it. I don't know how I'm going to get it to the other end. All this fanciful talk of grabbing it at the other end, I can't even get it to the other end. Okay, new plan. I'm going to use the needle nose pliers to feed it through. Alright. That's the plan. So we're going to pinch it with the needle nose pliers. We're going to pass it through from the inside to out and then grab it with our fingers. We're going to hope that we don't pinch it too hard with the pliers and destroy the rubber band. Alright, let's pinch it with the fingers first and then grab it with the needle nose. Alright, we have to pass that through and grab it then with our fingers. Alright, let's see if we can do that. Oh, where is it? This is no time for quantum physics trickery. This just needs to go through. Well, it's not. It's not going through. Catch it a little further out. Let's try it again. All right. Wow. That rubber band really doesn't want to go in that hole. Come on. Come on. You can do it. I believe in you. Just get in the hole. What's the problem? Pinch the rubber band. Put it through the hole. Easy peasy. Alright. For our next attempt, I'm going to try to push it through with a toothpick. Alright, so line it up. Grab a toothpick. Stuff it in there. No problem, right? What are you doing to me? Get in there. I like the toothpick. It's got some bend to it. I feel like I have some control over what I'm doing. It didn't work, but it felt like I had, felt like I had some control. Not enough to get it in there, apparently. Wow, it's like a mile away. That's not working. All right. And I can see we're going to have to do 2 more on the other side. You can already see that. When we had it through at this end, is there any way we could have spun it to the other end? I don't think so. You've got to get that in there. And you can't get your fingers in there to get it started. So that's a problem. All right, what if, here's what we're going to do. They were wrong to tell us to tie these rubber bands. All right, I'm going to get rid of all these rubber bands that we tied. Watch what we're going to do. We got a totally different plan here. We're going to put them in from the outside, and then we're going to pull them through to the inside, and then we're going to tie them. These instructions that told us, like, tie them first, bad instructions. Feed them first, tie them second. That's the way to do it. That's the only way. That's the only, because you can't get your finger in there to feed it through from the other side. This is the way. Start it from this side. It's not through yet. It's again not through. I mean, what's going on here? How can we not... How does that rubber band... Where's it going? Why does it not come out the other end? This is the same one that didn't make sense when we had it hooked in there. Oh, there it is, finally. All right. I don't know what's going on with that one. All right, anyway. Now we're going to pull it through. We're going to start it. It's already going to be in there. Same way we did it before. Oh, sorry. Remember before? Trying to figure out what camera angle you can see this from. It's out. It's out again. All right. In, then lock, then knot. Got to get it in there. We got to feed it in the slots, and then we're going to tie off the knot. That's the plan. I'll tell you, this Dream Cabriolet, I might have to edit this video when I do the compilation, because there have been so many episodes where I'm just fighting with the rubber bands, and people don't need to sit through that. You know, it's like I'm gonna have to fast forward through those sections, or just like not even put them in the compilation, just like clip them out and say, it took 30 minutes to put this rubber band through. If you did better, congrats. But like, unbelievable. I can't spend all the time in the video trying to feed these rubber bands. You know, I talked to another guy who does these things, and I said, let's like go live together and do them live. And he was like, I got to think about that. I never did them live. Well, he's probably encountered situations like this, where you're like fighting with a single rubber band for 30 minutes and realized like you can't do that on a live show. Well, you can. I mean, I'm not sure it's like anyone's going to be entertained by it, but you can do it. All right, so I guess I have to read another news article while I'm again fighting with these rubber bands. All right, let's see this article. Wyoming Democrat apologizes for Facebook post saying Auntie FA protects trans folks from fascists and bigots. Who is Auntie? Saying Auntie FA? What is FA? I apologize for failing to recognize the potential impact of my actions on social media, said Representative Carly Provenza. Wyoming House Democrat whip has apologized for sharing a Facebook post that suggested gun violence was necessary to protect transgender identifying people. This is a good story because I had a couple of thoughts on this. My first sort of gut reaction was that since they've been trying to take away the Second Amendment, I don't know who they is, but some people in the media and politics have been trying to take away the Second Amendment for I don't know how long, roughly as long as I've been alive. And so they're trying to take the Second Amendment away. And I think like they've been trying to take it away like by saying like Southerners have guns or white people have guns or Texas has guns. They've been like trying to get guns banned, but they keep saying like this group has guns. And then probably someone thought, well, maybe those people don't agree with you because they are those people. You have to have like someone else have the guns, and then they'll be like afraid of them. So that was my first thought when I saw this story. I thought, okay, they're trying to like whatever. Like they're trying to make some other group like scary, so that you'll be afraid of them having guns and you'll support gun control. It's because I'm looking at it from the perspective of like, if it's in the news, someone's trying to influence you in some way. So they could be trying to get a law. We know which way the public relations is bought in terms of guns, that they're trying to get them outlawed. Now the only question is how to get that. And I thought, well, they were talking about, like Southerners or whoever, rural people with guns. They tried that for, 1,000 years and they didn't get anywhere. So I thought maybe they'll start threatening people, someone else, and then they thought, I don't know why they thought the transgenders, maybe it's like the least represented group, so therefore the most people could potentially be scared by them having guns. Like, I thought maybe that's it. Like, maybe it's just like a ploy for gun control. So that was my first thought. And I think that's still, an interesting thought. But my second thought was Batman: The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller. The people who were taking over the city, and they did have guns, were transgenders. And in fact, that book was from mid-1980s. And Frank Miller's done a lot of books that had transgenders with like assault guns. And I thought it's like a shocking thing, to put. Like, he just thought it's like, guns are shocking, transgenders are shocking. If I put them both in a panel, it'll be double as shocking. And I think that's still like a possibility. That's still maybe why those visuals were in those books. But I'm also starting to wondering if there's something more to it. Like maybe Frank saw something, or whoever, No, I mean, he was a writer and the artist, so, I mean, he's the one who saw it, if anyone saw it. But what is it? I don't know. I don't have the answer, but I think it's interesting because there are other stories. There's a lot of stories about people having guns and gun violence. I think one common story is like kids accidentally shooting off the gun and one of them gets hurt or killed. That's the common story. I remember hearing stories like that when I was a kid. The school, shootings, which is obviously devastating. You hear a lot about those, which is horrible. I mean, it's really horrible. But now the new thing, and what's interesting about this new one is it's being said by the people on that side, because normally someone's talking about gun violence and it's other people talking about it. They're like pointing and saying, look at this person. They're like crazy. They're wrong. But in the case of these transgenders and the supporters of them, and I feel bad saying this because I have nothing against, I mean, for example, Caitlyn Jenner or anyone else who wants to define themselves different. Oh my goodness, I accidentally pulled it all the way through. Like, I have nothing against them. If they want to do it, they want to do it. It's like, fine. But as a political movement, you see these supporters of transgenders. In this case, was a Democratic politician. There was, I think it was Kari Lake's assistant did the same thing recently. Like everyone is saying, like, and they had this transgender day of vengeance. Like, suddenly everyone is saying, like, associating transgenders with guns, and they're the ones shooting the guns. Like, that's odd. Like, usually the Democrats are against guns. So now, but suddenly they're for guns as long as it's like transgenders shooting them. Like, what is going on? Like, how does that make sense? I mean, I support the Second Amendment. So if transgenders want to have guns, they absolutely can. As long as they're, in a place where the law allows that, and if they personally, don't have anything that's prohibiting them. So I'm not against it. What I'm trying to understand is why Democratic politicians and people who make, tweets supporting the Democrat Party and supporting, taking away the Second Amendment, they're suddenly for guns if they're in the hands of transgenders. Like, what is being said here? What is like the subtext here? I mean, what are they trying to say? I mean, I don't get it. Can someone explain that one? I'm definitely interested to hear what that could possibly be about. By the way, these rubber bands are extremely annoying. And I'm going to run out of rubber bands soon. I don't know how many more of these rubber band jobs they have, but I'm eventually going to run out of rubber bands. So at this point, I'm picking camera angles that don't even make sense just because it's got to be like something different for a while. So anyway, I'm using the same strategy on the other side. Push the rubber band through first, pull it all the way through, then tie the knot. Let me just make sure that that's what we need to do for the next set of rubber bands as well. Yeah, it looks like it is. In fact, it looks like this first set can go through because they just hook here. Is that all they do? Like both rubber bands go there? Well, anyway, yeah, you can do that before you even do the second set. Let me increment for the 4 rubber bands. That puts us at 270. I didn't do that yet. So let's just to do something. Let's hook these first 2 rubber bands. Does it matter which one goes first? I would imagine the bottom one should go on first. So, all right. So we got those 2 rubber bands on. Wow, that was like seemingly useless. What did we achieve there? Those rubber bands, yeah, they're on the outside. Okay. Put rubber bands on. What can I tell you? Well, they're probably going to slide off when I'm doing this side. But if you can see these, where it's been hooked to, there's like a divot in there. And there's some holes outside of it. So there's probably going to be something that attaches there. And then those rubber bands will be locked in. But what those rubber bands are going to do, I'm not really sure. I mean, they're not shocks. They're not power. We'll have to see. I don't have a prediction at this point as to how those rubber bands are going to help this car. Maybe they're going to make the doors open. Maybe they're going to make the seat bouncy. I don't know. They look like they're going to go under the seat. I don't really know what these rubber bands are for. I guess we'll find out together. All right. So 2 more rubber bands. Let's get another news story. Oh, by the way, these politicians apologize. I mean, that they make these posts, but then they apologize. Well, usually on these type of political issues, the politicians double down. The fact that with the transgenders, with the guns, they're not, tells me that it's not an official push, and maybe there is a conflict between supporting transgenders and supporting Second Amendment. I mean, because it's like 2 for 2. One resigned, the other apologized. So it sounds like these aren't approved messages, but they're obviously getting them from somewhere. There's definitely more to that story. Even though I'm getting tired of covering transgender stories, this is a little bit different. This is politicians tweeting, showing people with guns, and then retracting and apologizing. So I think there's more to that story. That's maybe the one story that I'm interested to see what comes next. All right, let's look at this one. Dems publish 500-page opposition research document on DeSantis. Effort was sponsored by PAC tied to leftists. What the hell just happened? I just opened something. I want to close it. I don't know how to. I just opened some tab, some like mini tab, and I don't want it opened, but I don't know how to close it. Done? Will done close it? That didn't do anything. Close? All right. Okay, back to the story. Dems published 500-page opposition research document on DeSantis. Effort was sponsored by PAC tied to leftist organization Media Matters. The 500-page document released on April 3rd as a full website called DeSantis Research Book, which is broken into numerous sections with navigation tabs. Democrats just released an opposition research document on Florida Gov. Ron DeSantis, underscoring the seriousness with which they view his potential candidacy for president. Well, again, I just read an ad. I just read these people's website. This is like the third time I've been fooled into reading an ad off Timcast. I don't know if Timcast is getting paid for these ads or if they're too stupid to know that they're posting other people's ads. So they wanted their opposition research public because they want all the people who go to Twitter and other forums to like post on it and say whatever they say about DeSantis. Are these things even true? Like how accurate is opposition research? I remember with George Bush, there was a crazy story. This is going back to, I think it was the 2004 campaign of George Bush. There was a famous broadcaster. It wasn't Brokaw. It was someone else. It was a famous broadcaster. It was someone that at some point in history had credibility, but I guess towards the end they didn't. And his channel published something about George W. Bush, like that he did something in the army that he shouldn't have, like, I don't know, he got some waiver or something, like his dad got him a waiver, or I don't know, to get him into the Air National Guard, Texas Air National Guard. Basically, it was some story from Dan Rather that was negative towards George W. Bush, and it was election coming up. So George W. Bush, he put the article that, Dan Brown or Dan Rather, like, published the documents. Like, he did a news story, he said, we've got the documents. And then George Bush put the documents on the White House website. But then later, someone looked at the documents and said these are like obvious forgeries. I may not be telling that story exactly right, but that's how I remember it. And someone said, like, these are forged documents. So then why did George Bush, like, put them on the website? And this goes back to this Trump WWE theory of mine. And there have been other people who've said it about politics. Like, there's nothing that happens in politics that hasn't been pre-scripted in advance. Like, I don't know, like Dan Rather had to retire afterward, but I'm thinking, like, maybe George Bush was fine with that document. And he didn't expect it to be proven a forgery, but they posted it on the website, White House website, and someone discovered it's a forgery, and now Dan Rather gets fired, but he was old anyway and probably about to retire. So not really a big deal. Sorry, I'm like dealing with these rubber bands off camera. I'm going to go to this camera angle, not because it's a good camera angle for what I'm doing, just because what I'm doing is tricky and I keep going off camera. So that was, I don't know if that you call that opposition research or not, but it was negative. So now they're releasing negative stuff about Ron DeSantis. Is the stuff true or not? Is DeSantis in it or not? Because when a politician goes into politics, I think in America, you know how it works, right? If you sign up for the Democratic Party, then the media is going to support anything you do. And if you sign up for the Republican Party, the media is going to say horrible things about you. So everyone knows what they're getting into. I don't know if you want to call that fixed or scripted, but it's not a surprise. Everybody knows there's nothing Nothing surprising about it. I mean, Donald Trump, for example, was a Democrat for 50 years. He went to all the Democratic parties. The Democrats gave him awards. They said he was like such a great guy. He fought racism. He was so much supporting, all the other races. He supported women. He had hired women to run his companies. He supported, these women scholarships through these beauty contests. It was like he bought like Ed McMahon's house when his mortgage was due. I mean, it's like he paid Ed McMahon's mortgage, as I recall. Basically, Donald Trump was getting all this great publicity for like 50 years, specifically talking about how he's not a racist and not a sexist and that he's on the side of the Democrats. Like, this was specifically his brand for like 50 years. And then he runs as a Republican for office, and all of a sudden people call him a white supremacist. I mean, who's going to fall for this? I mean, I know you see a lot of people lining up and repeating it on Twitter, but I feel like they're just playing the game because, like, they saw all those articles for 50 years, saying that Trump was the exact opposite. So why are they now calling him, again, I don't want to defend Trump. I don't think Trump's a great guy. I don't even know if he's a good guy. No, I shouldn't say that. I mean, he's a good guy. But, there's a lot of good guys out there. It's nothing really that special. So I don't want to be like tricked into supporting Trump just because other people are attacking him. Because that's how WWE works. Like the heel doesn't like the good guy, so we all have to back the good guy. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of fun when you're like watching wrestling. It's like a soap opera. It's a script. It's a kayfabe or whatever, and you kind of like, that's what makes it fun, But that's wrestling. That's entertainment. That's not, I don't know, is politics all entertainment? Is there like some back script from the Constitutional Republic and everything you see or hear about politics is just nonsense? I mean, that's getting back to when I was saying that New York City is all marketing. Maybe I'm doing the right thing. Just I probably shouldn't. Like, I don't want to do sports. I like doing this puzzle. But sometimes you work on 4 rubber bands for 30 minutes, as I just did, and you need to read a news story. And I feel like I don't want to do a news story like from sports because those guys already make $100 million a year, and I don't need to help them more. But now I don't want to do politics either because it's all so fake. I mean, it's so like obviously fake. I don't want to be involved in it. And then what else to do? I don't know. I'm going to come up with something. I think I'm just going to find like self-help kind of things, like just read some articles during the day and then make some bullet points, and I'll just have my own list. I won't do anything. I won't do anyone's Timcast or MSNBC or whoever. I'm just going to do my own news. I'm just going to write my own crap. And I'll write my own articles, and I'll make it into bullet points, and I'll just read those while I'm putting puzzles together. I mean, I'm not stupid. I can write articles. I'm not sure how much time I have, but I at least could write bullet points, and then I can extrapolate them on those bullet points while I'm assembling the puzzle. Speaking of which, we must make some progress in this puzzle because we've been on page 25 this entire time. The good news is we're done with page 25. If you look here, attaching these rubber bands, this was the last thing to do on page 25. So we're now on page 26. Except I think we kind of don't have a lot of time. But maybe it'll go quickly. Let's see. All right, page 26. The first thing to do, cut 2 2Z toothpicks. All right, so those are pieces 271 and 272. Let's make this happen quickly. 2Z. That's the small. That's the small section on the toothpick. There's the 2Z. Let's get here. Cut the toothpick, right? Easy enough. Alright, I think that was a little bit off. I'm going to go here. Hopefully not cut my finger. There's one of them. I think we can get one more on this little bit of broken toothpick here. Alright, let's see there. That looks good. Let's get one more. Got it. There's our 2 2Zs. Alright, what do we want to do with them? Now, we need we need our 2 2Zs. And then we need a piece called 105A, which I believe is the piece that's been falling out of that board since like day one. I wonder if I've lost that piece already. There was a piece that kept falling out, and we had it like sitting on top for a while. I don't know if it's been lost, but I think it was that 105 one. It looks like it. I remember, there it is, right? That's the piece, right? I knew that piece had fallen out. All right, so does this look like 105.1? Can I put my hand in front of that? I think I can do that if I make HDMI 2 the blue screen, the green screen, and then I switch to the other camera. I'm going to try something. Alright, so right now, this is the green screen. It's like Route 66. And there's my webcam. And there's my piece. I'm going to see if I can switch this to have the HDMI 2 as the background. I don't know if that's even possible. I haven't tried this before. Alright, background image. Can I pick HDMI 2 as the background image? No. No, they don't give me that option. Alright, so I'm just going to go back. Cancel. I'm not going to do anything. Alright, so I'll just show you here. I'm sure there's a way for me to hold my hand. I think I have to have like... I think what I have to do is have like a green piece of paper close by so that I can switch here. And then when I have the close-up camera, it's probably only as big as a piece of paper. So I'll like throw down the green piece of paper and then I'll pick this. But anyway, for now, I'm just going to hold it like right there. And I'm going to resize this one. All right, that's the closest I can get to telling you that that's the piece. And the reason I had to do it like that is because the piece has been punched out of the wood already. Which means that it doesn't have number on it anymore. But anyway, that's 105A. Actually, there was a much easier way to do that. 105A was probably fell out of 105, which is right here. No, it didn't. It didn't fall out of this. All right, so this is 105. And then we also need 106. So that brings us to 275 pieces. So there's 105 if we can get it out. Let me just see. Does that look like a gun from like a sci-fi video game? Let me put that behind the black screen. Like, look at that. Am I crazy, or does that look like a gun from a sci-fi shooter? It's something, right? I don't think it's in... Here we go. That's a better focus. It definitely looks like a gun from Doom or Halo or something like that. All right, anyway, that's piece 105. 106 is this little, silly little piece. It's over here. There's actually multiple 106s, but they're only asking for one at this moment, so let's pop out a single 106. All right. I can't believe we spent an hour on those rubber bands. Good thing this podcast advertises itself as putting people to sleep, because if anyone attempted to watch this show when I was talking about those rubber bands for, I don't know, what was it, like about 2-3 hours? I mean, it fell asleep. There's no way anyone stayed awake through that. All right, so now we have to take these two toothpicks. So we got our 105, we got our two toothpicks, and we're going to stick them into 105. Easy enough, right? I'm going to get them started, and then I'm going to push them in flush. Even though it doesn't say to do that. I really should start looking ahead for clues as to how far to push these things in. I don't see any clues. I'm going to push them in flush. Some splinters on this piece. Alright, I got the toothpick started. Let's use this piece of wood to push them in. Oh, careful. Don't use a piece. Don't push them against a piece that's gonna pop out. What just happened? So I guess this wasn't in far enough to push against it, or maybe I pushed like in a slanted way. Bottom line, I'm gonna try again. And it's again not going. Okay, it's already flush. All right, both of them are flush. We're good. So now, where did these go? It shows one going into this circle here. It's unclear where the other one is going. You can see the instructions there. Perhaps you're just as confused as me as to where the second one is going. First of all, spin it around, flat end there. All right. Oh, okay, I see where it's going. It's going down here. And so is the first one. All right, so see these two holes here? One hole, two hole. That's where these are going. If I push it in, these things are gonna back out and hit me in the fingers. I know that. So we got to get them somehow started at least. All right, kind of like rock back and forth to get them started. I think that's pretty good. And then I'll put this underneath. No, I'm gonna put this underneath. I'm gonna push from each side. What is this? What part of the car is this? Because this is just looking more and more like a blaster. Anyway, that's on pretty good. So, where does the 106 go? Here's the 106. Strange looking, odd looking little piece. Looks like a little bird. I don't know if you can see that. The 106. Looks like a little bird or a little, some kind of little creature. There's his eyes, there's his legs, there's his back. I don't know. Whatever you want to call that thing. Looks like something. All right, so let's take this, hold it the same way it is in the instruction book. And then this guy is going to go here, and he's going to face his little eyeball this direction. All right, so let's get it in there. Not that it's actually an eyeball. It's probably another toothpick holder, honestly, is what it is. Push that into flush. Good. Nice. And time for more toothpicks. All right, so now they want two toothpicks cut to... They want us to cut 10 millimeters off the end of two toothpicks. So start with two fresh toothpicks. Cut 10 millimeters off each. And then do whatever they're supposed to do next. My goodness. All right, got it. Took a minute. All right. They want 10 millimeters off of each. Give them a little haircut. I wonder if we'll use those 10 millimeter pieces later for something else. And I wonder why they didn't tell us to cut them like using the 2Zs. Because I bet you one of those is 10 millimeters. Probably to emphasize that you're saving the long end, you know. All right. 10 millimeters. There we go. 10 millimeters. I don't know how to get these cameras to focus on the right thing. I feel like I have to hire someone with like a joystick to make sure these cameras are in focus at all times. Did I make these two the same length? Not really. Well, maybe within 1 millimeter of the same length. Okay. So why do we need these stupid things? They're showing us attaching them to the tool. You see the tool here? They're showing us putting the toothpicks through the tool, which is crazy. But I think they're just saying that as a measuring device. Like to put it through the tool just to measure it. So anyway, the piece is 107 plus 2 toothpicks. So that brings us to 278 pieces. 107 is right here. There we go. 107. All right. So they want us to put the toothpick. Wow, this is such a tiny little piece. All right, so I don't know how to describe this really. Like, there's like a corner, and one is longer than the other. So anyway, the shorter one is where they want, like the longer one, they want the toothpick flush. The shorter one, they show it going through the tool, the measuring tool. All right, so first one we just do flush. And then the second one, we're kind of going to do flush, but first we're going to put it through. And then we're going to put it through the measuring tool. And then we're going to put it flush against the measuring tool. And then we're going to pull it back out. There we go. So that's it. Now it's like sticking out a little bit. I don't know if it's how to show you this. Can you see it there? So we got the little jelly bean thing. And then we got the piece. We got one end sticking out a little bit. Just a little bit. And there's a caution. Make sure you got it right. And then they're saying to add 6 107s. Did we have 6 107s? Where am I supposed to get those from? Oh, son of a gun. We got a bunch of 107s. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we got 6 107s. Why? Okay. Anyway, let's do that. Let's get to work. So that's going to bring us to 284, right? 278 plus 6 is 284. By the way, the keypad on the YOLO box for both the numbers and the text, it changed. It not only changed how it looks, but it changed how it acts, and it changes what it autofills. But the YOLO box, it didn't change at the time of the update. So I don't know if that means I accidentally changed it, or if they somehow did a very minor update that probably doesn't involve downloads and installs. Maybe it's just like a configuration thing, like a .ini if you were working on Windows, but this is Android. And I don't know the Android system, but, think about old school Windows, a .ini file. It's like they did that type of a change. It seems like, as like an unofficial update, it's at least a few days now that the data entry looks different. Some people have said they should add like a Bluetooth keypad or at least a USB keypad, just so that you can enter text using the keypad on the YOLO box. I don't know if that's going to happen. I've heard people want that to happen. I think I'm going to put this back onto the tool while I stack these 6 pieces on, because that's a good way to keep them at the correct distance. So I need to get 6 of these on without stabbing myself in the finger. That's going to be tricky. Six of them, huh? Seems like we're supposed to read the next story, right? Alright, that still looks good. Actually, let me get it flush. I get another piece underneath there. Alright, let's try to push these on without breaking the toothpicks and without getting stabbed. Alright, there we go. Alright, what's the next news story? Well, I put on, because I got 4 more of these 107s. So we better read the next news story. Alright, let's see this. Alright. Gun control advocates. Does that mean there were lawyers? Who occupied Tennessee Capitol will not face charges. House Republicans have filed to expel 3 Democrats who led a protest on the chamber's floor. Protesters who occupied the Tennessee Capitol in the wake of the Covenant School shooting are not being investigated and will not face charges. So this is the dual justice system that everybody's talking about. It's like Democrats, they can take over a state house. The Democrats have like literally lit off bomb in the, that January 6th where they had that January 6th day. Democrats have literally lit off a bomb in that place. They've attacked that place. They've went in there with arms, and they did it just this last week in Tennessee, the Tennessee state version of that place. So basically, Democrats constantly escalate their protests to measures that would be considered illegal if Democrats got prosecuted for their crimes. So Republicans, on only one day, after the police waved them in, for only one day, they took a protest inside a building after police waved them in, and then they have the nerve, and this is what I'm talking about with the fake stuff, the mainstream media and the business leaders in New York, they have the nerve to call it an insurrection. Meanwhile, when they take over a state capitol, it's like a legitimate protest. But if a Democrat takes over a state capitol, they consider it a legitimate protest. If a Republican who's protesting outside gets waved in by the police and taken on a guided tour, they call that an insurrection. Which means that they write the scripts in advance and then they decide later, they find someone stupid enough to pin it on. It's really bad. It's really bad. They're not playing honest. If they played honest, then they would try to win votes honestly. They would listen to the people and see what they want and give them what they want. Instead, they create fake issues and they get people to pretend they're supported. They get people to pretend that there was protest. They get people to pretend there was insurrection. And if that doesn't work, they just hire some intelligence agency to frame those people. It's really disgusting. It's really disgusting. If you're going to be like fascist tyrants, just come on TV and say, oh, by the way, we're fascist tyrants. Don't create these fake videos, like guilt tripping everyone in the world, lying about people who have families, people who have jobs, people who have mortgages. You're destroying their lives to create your fake storylines. Just do your stupid crimes and just say, oh, by the way, we're criminals. Stop like ruining people's lives so that you can create lies. It's wrong. Stop doing it. Okay. So moving on with the puzzle. So now they want us to cut this toothpick right at the edge where it comes out of here. So it sticks out a little bit here. And then at this side, they want to cut. But be careful. They only want this one cut. So this is the one that's sticking out. The one that's not sticking out, they want cut at the base. And we might reuse this toothpick later, but for now, we're excising that piece. Now, this next side, they want us to put again through this tool and then cut it. So it's going to stick out at both ends. So the toothpick that sticks out at this end is also going to stick out by the same distance at that end, because we're going to trim it outside of the tool. Boom. There you go. There it is. All right. Now what? 106. Do you remember the 106? That's going to be piece 285. This lonely little 106 sitting here on the board is finally going to get used. Let's pop that out. All right, now what are we going to do here? So we got this piece. It has a 106 already there. No, that's a 107. Did I put there? Oh, no. It looks like a 107. It looks like a 107, but it's a 106 because it has the pin on the end. Basically, 107s and 106s, they look different based on the pin at the bottom and the hole here, but that gets filled in by a toothpick and it ends up looking the same. But we're going to hang it, we're going to thread it through here and then also through here. So let's make sure we get the direction right. I don't want to mess that up. So the flat side is going to go down. Actually, it's easy to get the direction right because you just match it to the portion of the 106 that's sticking out. So we thread that in there. And then we thread the other side in, and then we put the pin through. Actually, much easier than it looks. Way easier than rubber bands, I'll tell you that. Okay, got it. I mean, I better get it after claiming it was easy. Let's just say I thought it would be easy, and I still kind of think that. Yeah, that's halfway down. That's in. You heard the click. There we go. It's a little space in there. I don't know if that's right, but let me see here. How many of these did we put on? Oh, and it flips up like that, huh? All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we put them all on. I don't know why there's empty space. It's actually kind of interesting piece here. I'm not sure where that's going, but it's cool so far. All right, so now actually we do flip. Are they just telling us that it does flip up? Anyway, that's done. So that means we're now on page 27. And we potentially could keep going, but I don't feel like it. So I'm going to sign off for the night. Wow, that was a long night. These rubber bands were brutal. I didn't enjoy them at all. No fun. Anyway, that's it for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow.